Salam and hello, my name is Abbas.
My name is In'am.
We're doing this show called Locally Yours.
Locally yours. Locally yours.
Salam and welcome, Abbas with you, and welcome to another episode of Locally Yours. Now, today I was called early in the morning, and my team was like, hey, we have a guest for you, someone very interesting. And I was like, okay, what does the person do? And they were like, well, the person is a watchmaker and, a watch promoter, or what do you want to call it? And I was like, watches? Count me in. And then, the icing on the cake, or remove the icing, I'm going low on sugar, was that they told me that an old friend, someone that the whole Oman knows, is also coming along with the person. And it's the one and only, of course. Let's put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen. We have two guests. We have Rumaitha and we have Nicolas, who has a watch brand called ID Genève, right? So I'm pretty excited. Let's do this. We're going to be asking a few questions because I've been into watches all my life and I don't consider myself as an expert. And that's why we have Nicolas along with Rumaitha right here on Locally Yours. Let's do this. Well, star of the show, we have Nicolas on the table with us. Nicolas, welcome.
Thank you. Very happy to be here.
Let me ask you, is this your first trip to Oman?
Yes, well,
Brilliant.
indeed to Muscat, yes.
All right, and what brings you to Oman? See, I can't help but saying watch, right? Because we've been talking about watches. I'm into watches myself, but not really deep into it, not into luxury watches. I was never able to afford it. But tell me about your watchmaking process. What got you into it? And, how does one become a watchmaker?
It's a very good question. So myself, I'm going to be very honest. I'm not a watchmaker. I've studied hospitality in the École Hôtelière de Lausanne, one of the top hospitality school. And but my best friend is a watchmaker. We've known each other since we're 4 years old. We grew up together in Geneva. Geneva, one of the capital of watchmaking. Did you know that in Switzerland, worldwide, and 95% of the watches sold over 1,000 USD are Swiss made.
Wow!
So that gives us really hegemony over Swiss made, but also responsibility. And growing up, so with 14 in Switzerland, usually when you become a watchmaker, you start with an apprenticeship. Very early on. So with 14 years old, you go half of your time to the watch manufacturer and half of your time to school. And this is what Cedric did, my best friend. And through him, I fell into watchmaking. I fell into this passion. I watched artisans, working on one component for 3 weeks. And it was very amazing. And then from there, with 15, we said to each other, at some point, we want to have a watch brand.
At 15?
Yeah.
Wow. At 15, I was just eating chips and watching movies. And wow, that's brilliant. Go ahead.
No. And I think with 15, what we said and what we were amazed is, we wanted to be significant, right? Significant is very important, right? It's through this timeline of history. How do you put your positive mark on it?
How do you put impact?
Very humbly again, because this industry is huge. We are on the shoulders of giants, from in this industry. But again, I think it's our responsibility. We're new generations of watchmakers, and we thought, we would take again the statistics, and we would take and transform that into responsibility. And I think when we launched in 2020, ID Genève watches, I think this is when we connected and said, hey, we need to transform it and turn it into an opportunity, right?
Right.
How can we make sustainability more desirable to the people?
But how does one gather the courage to actually get into a market where it's, there are these giants already in place? And then coming into the market, like, how do you gather that courage? Because I was in a market which was already mature. Yes, I do understand that there are a lot of opportunities, but at the same time, it's intimidating. Yeah. So how do you deal with that?
Convictions, I think, convictions are things that don't change no matter what, right? And I think when we started, it's also, when I quit my job, and I remember quitting my job, I was in Zurich working corporate, and I think that was really just for myself. In the end, I was like picturing myself with 65 years old, like going to retiring and thinking about my legacy, as a human being, what would be my legacy? And I thought, I can, continue climbing the ladder and and then I said, but in the end, what's better than just following your childhood dream? I think there is nothing better than that. And as I was telling also before, I think I also had the privilege to do that, so this is why I'm very grateful, because I know not everyone can do that. So I felt also the importance to try, and so I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, I want to try, I would have hated, at 65 to look back and said I didn't try, I think that was the for me the click. And then I decided to go, and this is why we started with the crowdfunding in December 2020. And and then
wasn't that like a shaky year because of the pandemic, and
Exactly.
didn't that like discourage you that hey, there's pandemic, and of course the cost might go high because of whatever reason. So how did you deal with that?
So I'm quite the optimistic person.
I can see that. You're always smiling and I like it. Generally mornings I'm not very smiley, but looking at you, I'm like, things can be better. Yeah.
No, but we start. It's not a COVID project because we see a lot of people that turn. I quit my job before that, and then I was really in the middle of it. Obviously, we got a bit of delays, but I think in the end it turned an opportunity because. Thinking about the brand, we had super high ambitions from the get-go, right? So I wanted to launch the brand in Korea, in San Francisco, in Switzerland. And finally, what we did is just launch the brand in Switzerland and get a huge national success there. In Geneva, Zurich, Basel, Bern, and Lausanne. And we had like small gatherings of people because we were limited at some point, even in Geneva, to 5 people at a time to meet in a room. And I think this is actually even better for a startup that is starting up, and you want to showcase your product and explain also what's behind it, right? So that gave us, finally COVID gave us, quality time.
Wow.
With small groups of people.
Not the quantity, but quality, rather.
Exactly.
Right.
And which amounted to a great success. So really, everything was planned out. And I would do it again like that.
And as we're on the subject of the pandemic, how's the market post-pandemic when it comes to luxury watches? Because people have been holding on to their money because they say cash is king, right?
Yep.
So yes, a lot of even if you look at other industries, people are ready to come on board with kind. They're ready to give their products, but when it comes to money and when it comes to luxury watches, it involves money.
Yep.
So how's the market post-pandemic? We'll talk about globally, but let's start regionally, like in the Middle East.
Yeah. So in the Middle East, I think the after the pandemic, we've seen a shift. But either way, I think the luxury industry is continue to draw a lot of investment, a lot of people purchasing watches.
Right.
I think for ages it has been an industry of personal goods, right? And this is very important. And even during COVID, I think we've seen the growth rate rise even. So it's not the typical industry, I think, that is affected by crisis. Sometimes they solidify during crisis. At the moment, I would say there is a worldwide a bit slowdown because the last 2 years have been amazing. I'm talking about double-digit growth. But this year and last year and this year are going to be a bit slower for the luxury industry. Also in the Middle East, this is what we're expecting.
Okay. And what sort of innovation does the watch industry, what can, as a consumer, what can I look forward to? Like what sort of innovation? Because if you look at my wrist, I'm pretty much embarrassed today. I'm wearing this. I know it's convenient, but of course it doesn't have that personal touch. Thank you for flexing that, by the way. You can show it on the camera. There you go. Thanks to my team for briefing me. They were like, hey, we have someone coming in, so can you come and interview them? And they knew that I would instantly be on the same page with you guys because, me and the team, we keep talking about watches all the time. And so, what sort of innovation will a conventional watch see in the next 5 years, let's say?
A very good question. I think, we're 100% mechanical watches, and automatic watches. that means there's no technology in it.
Right. Yeah.
But I think what you can expect. So I'll start with the market. What you can expect from the market. This is all obviously new design, new complications, also, and also a growth of different brands. Upcoming brands that are strong in Switzerland, and what you will also expect from from our side, sorry, it's a new eco innovation. We're discussing also. I think I hope in the future all innovation will be eco, but at the moment, this is what we're putting a name on it. I think it's about eco innovation. For us, we're presenting, just in September, a new collection, new limited exclusive collection. So it will be about capsule collections, I think, also in the future. And how do we drive this? Because in the end, the watchmaking industry is a very low volume industry, but high quality and high responsibility. That means that we need to be a platform for climate heroes, climate solutions, and make the intangible visible on the wrist. I think that's very important. We have a chance every day to come up with something on your wrist that can tell.
Even though time is not your friend, you still want to keep it on your wrist. You're like, exactly. I want to see how old I'm getting and how fast. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's also a jewel, right? It's like an extension of your personal.
Can we compare
value.
it, just for perspective?
Yeah.
Can we compare the watch industry to the diamond industry? Because I was reading about it, and diamonds, again, they don't have value on their own, but the way they were marketed initially.
Yeah.
From what I remember from this documentaries and a few videos that I watched on YouTube, because I don't have intelligent friends, and I fall in the same category, so I take all my knowledge from YouTube. So is that correct if I say that luxury watches in the end comes to how a person sees the watch?
So it's about perception and it's about storytelling.
Right.
Completely agree with you. Diamonds is, a diamond is a girl's best friend, right? We've been told that.
Not my best friend.
Exactly.
A watch is
I've
my
been
best friend.
friend-zoned a lot, so I know about that. Diamonds and a box. So.
and yeah, completely. I think the diamond industry is a great example of storytelling. ID Genève, we're what I call impact native. We're born from impact. We're trying to change those narratives for the future, right? We're trying to build new narratives, new luxury, because this is really an underlying narrative that's been there, but not for that many years. We've seen De Beers and a lot of companies invest a lot of marketing.
Yeah, to change that.
In that, but I think we need to change that. We can reconstruct narratives and that are less toxic, but they're as nice as the previous ones, right? I think that's very important to say.
Right.
Aesthetics first, right? I think that's the luxury industry, and this is why we're very proud of wearing also a beautiful watch. That's why I love watches. Myself, I'm a watch collectioner.
So how does it feel to wear your own brand on your wrist? I want to know that, because it must feel really good. You must be proud of the fact. And sometimes do you look at your watch and be like, whoa, that's me,
No, as you said, I'm very humbled by this. I think I feel a lot of gratefulness. I remember this moment when we were contacted by the first buyer in Japan, right?
Wow, in Japan.
Exactly.
And was that the market you were targeting, or that just came by chance?
That just came by chance. We sell also on the e-commerce, and then we have the chance to sell now worldwide, and it's always interesting to see. And I try to meet with the people, and I even do 30 minutes online with them.
Right.
Now it's more difficult through that we're growing, but at the beginning I did that a lot to really understand, what was driving their purchase, and what I learned, is that most of them, are also entrepreneurs, and seeing also a change in the economy, right? And they want to be at the forefront of this change, because they realize that we're going, we're on a finite resource planet, and that we're just talking about infinite growth, and they're really thinking about how can we be more circular. So in circularity, I mean, how can we take less from Mother Nature,
interesting,
and how can we use also what's what I called above the ground stocks.
You're right.
What's already there, in the end, what's already in this recycling facility, what's already here, and how can we put it back in circulation, right? And I think that's, for me, in the end, the new identity of luxury, right? The ultimate luxury, to take less and make sure that in your day you're striving to become more circular, every day.
And is it difficult to sell through e-commerce, for example, when it comes to luxury watches specifically? It's about the experience. You walk into a store, the personality of the store, the people that you've hired to sell your watches, how they talk to you. It's a whole experience. Because I've always entered these luxury stores. I never bought anything, of course. Inshallah, someday I'll get there. But when I walk in, it's an experience for me. So how's it when it comes to e-commerce? Because in the end, you're just a few clicks away from looking at the pictures, but you can't physically hold the product. So do you think that's the way forward for the watch industry, like through e-commerce, which is more convenient and it makes more sense, and of course less cost, all of that? But then again, when you look at a conventional store, you provide an experience. So when it comes to your brand, are you more focused towards e-commerce, or do you think that you will continue with the conventional way of selling, which is through stores and physical stores?
I think my answer is that I'm here today,
Yeah.
and I love meeting face to face. I think that's
Right.
so powerful. And I was looking also to meeting in person, face to face. And no. So to answer your question, obviously we've seen a rise in e-commerce. Post COVID. But I think, as you mentioned, luxury is about the experience. It's like, how are we making you feel? When you get to know the brand ID Genève, and this is why we're here. We'll be at the Mandarin Oriental. Have a press conference later today. We are here to bring ID Genève to Oman and showcases our ecosystem also, and long term. I see ID Genève. I was telling. I was discussing that in Dubai with an investor. We want to make ID Genève the leader globally in terms of eco-innovation in watchmaking. And that being
Brilliant.
said, whether you enter a boutique in Japan, in Los Angeles, in Dubai, in London, when you ask for the best sustainable option, we want to be top of mind here. And that means, working also hand in hand with retailers, because the retailers will build your brand, will be present, and will avoid also a lot of traveling for myself and my team. So this also makes sense also in a sustainable way. That means, I don't need to come every week, although I would love to come back and stay here longer. I have
it's a beautiful place. It's a place where you can come and retire maybe later on.
Exactly.
Because we are like the Switzerland of Middle East. You know what I mean?
I heard about
But he
it.
comes from the original Switzerland, so it'll be a tough bet,
okay.
right?
All right. Well, so I just hope that we see you again, inshallah. And as a consumer, hopefully in the future, I look forward to the brand coming to the Middle East and, getting to a level where it becomes a household name, where people go, oh, luxury watches? Oh, yeah, definitely. It's the ID Genève. Am I saying it right? ID Genève?
Yeah, you can say that.
Nice.
ID
Sometimes I just butcher the name, so I'm so glad, because we were talking about a few French brands, and the way you said it, I was like, I'll never be able to say it like that. So it just sounds beautiful from your name. I feel like buying it. From my mouth, that's why we have Rumaitha on the table for that.
But I don't speak French either, so.
Well, I can say eau de toilette. That's what I keep reading on. So that's where
Eau
my
de
French
toilette.
stops. So Nicolas, I would like to wish you all the luck for you and your brand. And of course, let's give a shout out to all your friends out there. Yeah, we have Cedric and you had Singal.
Yeah, Singal.
Single. Hey, thank you so much for sending Nicolas across. Absolute pleasure talking to him. And before we end the episode, of course, we cannot end it without having Rumaitha give her statement on this. First of all, Rumaitha, love your outfit, love the color.
thank
Very
you.
easy going on the eye. As if you weren't easy enough on the eye.
Oh,
You're wearing easy going colors too. So we would like to hear from you what you have to say about ID Genève and,
Yeah, I think the partnership bringing in ID Genève to Oman is quite something remarkable, in my opinion. Usually it's quite difficult sometimes, especially if you go into sustainability and really kind of working to get people to be aware of circularity and so on. to practice what they preach, right? But now you have a luxury option as well to actually showcase that you are able to, one, minimize your carbon footprint, and also have a lot of circularity on your hand, on your wrist, from materials that you wouldn't know, like seaweed, recycled stainless steel, and so many other elements that kind of are things that you kind of would discard. But now you can actually turn it into a luxury item that you can actually showcase. And I can't stop watching my watch and looking at it because it's so beautiful. And I hope that this movement, because I mean, we know Oman is moving into more of a circular nation, more of a net zero target. There's a lot of visions that have to do with Vision 2040 as well. And it's time for us to kind of push that behavior as well of the people to move into that discussion as well. And this is what we're trying to do with ID Genève, bringing them here, getting more people to embrace those values. We have more young people who are really questioning a lot of our habits as well and our consumer habits. And this could be a way that we can actually introduce them into something that they can be a part of and be ambassadors for not only Oman, but the whole ecosystem in general and being more sustainable.
And like Nicolas said, for the new generation of watchmakers, this could be a benchmark of like,
For
hey,
sure.
I could own luxury without the guilt that comes along
but
with
it's not only for watchmakers, it's young people in general. Like,
Agreed.
if you look at, so there's a movement ever since COVID, by the way, called conscious consumerism, where now young people decide through their money that they're earning, because most of millennials now make money because they have jobs, where their money goes to in terms of their products, but also what stands with their values. And they're pushing a lot of companies to kind of move into this. The whole ESG thing started because of pressure of young people saying, show me what you're doing for me to put my money. And then you're seeing that even moving forward to now I'm picking jobs that match my values because I don't want a job that doesn't match my value. Soon enough, you'll see the whole person represented in exactly their values. Once you see them, you know exactly what they stand for. And I think this is where ID Genève comes in and really will contribute quite a lot in terms of that narrative as well and what we stand for as young people as well.
Inshallah. I mean, I can see a power team right here. Like,
Sure,
Rumaitha and Nicolas together, like the Avengers and DC mixed together. I don't know. I just made that up. Thank you so much, Rumaitha, for your input. And Nicolas, you as well, for coming in and talking to us on Locally Yours. Once again, good luck to both of you. And I can do with
I'd say one thing though, like if you want to check out the watches, head to Lear Jewelry at the Royal Opera House or the Opera Galleria.
Brilliant.
You'll actually get to see the watch in person, and trust me, pictures don't do it justice.
Of course, yes. I'm going to be headed there right now, actually, once we're done with this episode. So thank you for coming in, guys. And I'll see you soon, inshallah.
Yes, inshallah.
Thank you very much.